Growing an agency is predictable and it's methodical. And if you're not stacking on additional revenue to your business every single month right now, then it's going to be because of one of the 6 things I'm going to go through in today's video. And look, I've mentored thousands of agencies from all corners of the globe, offering all kinds of different services to all kinds of different people. I've even built an agency of my own to multiple 7 figures, and I still own that agency to this day. It's called Affluent.co. Now, because I've been in this industry for 7 years now, I know all the key bottlenecks and the key identifiers that prevent people from scaling their business. And that's exactly what we're going to go through today. How you can identify what your bottlenecks are and how you can overcome them, and so you can scale to the next level. Now, when an agency comes to me and says, Jordan, I'm struggling to scale, what do I do? The first question I ask is, what does the data say? And what do the numbers tell us about why you're struggling to scale right now? An agency is a numbers-driven business. It's a sales-driven business. It's a data-driven business. So we absolutely have to look at the data. We cannot run this business by the gut. Most agency owners work every single day just reacting or making micro decisions based on what worked in that given week, in that given day. Okay, but we need to be able to zoom out and look at the data and then react accordingly and make our decisions based on that. And believe me, I've been in that position. I have been running the agency by the gut. It does not work. It does not get you very far very quickly. You need to be running everything by the numbers, and you have to get into the habit of tracking all of your data. So I'm going to give you some key metrics that you need to be looking at, and if you follow through this video today, if you're struggling to scale at the moment and you've already got started, you will be able to identify the specific bottleneck that you're facing in the business and how to overcome that, okay? And if you haven't yet started your agency, this is going to be perfect foundations for you to understand the metrics you need to start tracking when you do get started, okay? Just pay attention, close your tabs, get some paper, write things down. Okay, so outreaches per day. This is going to be the first metric that you're really going to be thinking about. Okay, now there is micro data within this, and I'm not going to touch on that today. Micro data would be total dials and calls. It'd be total emails sent, your reply rate, your positive reply rate, your meeting set rate on the email specifically, etc. You can get very granular with this, and you absolutely should do. But this is the macro data that you can use in order to identify bottlenecks within the business. Okay, so if you're sending above 50 outreaches a day right now, and that doesn't have to be just new companies. This could be 25 new companies reached out to on 2 strategies, so 25 cold calls, 25 DMs, using that multi-platform approach. If you're doing over 25 a day, then it's very unlikely that you've got an outreach problem within your business. Okay, so you can progress to the next stage. If you're sending less than 50, and this is an arbitrary figure, like this should be more than this in some cases. I'm approaching this on the basis that some of you guys will be new to sales and you're just starting off in the industry. If you can send 50 outreaches a day to 50 new companies, then that's even better. This is an input-output business. The more time you put in, the more results you're going to get. That's why it's so nice for beginners. It's just why it's so nice for people that are inexperienced in business. It's just a nice business model in general. Input-output businesses work very well because the more you work, the better results you'll get. If you're sending less than 50 a day, and let's just presume that you don't have a time issue, because if you're sending less than 50 and not because you've got an issue with motivation or your skill set or your leads, if you have an issue with sending 50 leads a day because you don't have the time, then that's an entirely different thing. We need to look at, okay, can we reduce this figure? Can we find more time in the morning? Can we replace some bad habits? Can we stop going out the weekend? Okay, that's a different thing. But let's just presume you do have the time and you're sending less than 50 outreaches a day. Well, you clearly have a motivation problem. None of the things I'm going to go through today are here to call you guys out or air you out. I genuinely just want to give you solutions to the problems that you're facing within your business. Okay, if you take offense to this, it's probably because I've hit a nerve, because I'm right. Okay, so you've probably got a motivation problem if you're not sending above 50 outreaches every single day at the moment. And so you need to ask yourself, do you even want it? Okay. Do you even want it? Do I even want this right now? Because if you did want it, you would be reaching out and putting in the work, okay? And if you don't want it enough, which is why you're not doing the outreach, then ask yourself why, okay? And think about that why. Why am I starting this business? Why do I want to do this? Am I just blindly following a trend of what I see on Instagram, what I see on YouTube? Am I just blindly following these gurus, okay? Or do I actually want to start an agency? Do I actually want to start a business? And then on a deeper level, why do I want that? Is it for my family? Is it for my friends? Is it for my future children? Is it because I want money? Is it because I want impact? Is it because I want respect? Is it because I want power? Why do I want to do this? And then looking at that why, do I actually want that thing? Or do I want it because society tells me? Think about that. It's okay to get into this and then realize that it's actually not what you want to do. And having a 9 to 5 and a job and like a good paying job, that is a better path for you in life. That is absolutely okay. And we need to be self-aware enough to consider that. But think about this first. Do I even want it? And some of you will be thinking, of course I want it, Jordan. All right. So what's the next issue? If you want it and you've got a clear goal and you know what you want to achieve, it's very easy in the day-to-day stresses of life, when we see our friends, when we see our family and things just come up, for us to forget that vision, for us to forget what we actually want and what we're working so hard to achieve. And so create a vision board, have it a pin board in your office, have some post-it notes on your desk. I don't care what you do, just have your vision somewhere very clear that you're going to see it every single day. So you cannot forget about it. You cannot get distracted in everyday life. You have very clear visualization techniques. You're practicing affirmations every single morning. You're reinforcing the vision that you want and the life that you want to achieve through being able to see that thing. Okay, so get a vision board. That's what I had. I had a pin board and it had like pictures of all sorts of shit that I wanted in the early stages. Outside of that, you know you want it. You've got the visual cues. Okay, get accountability. If this is a motivation problem. If it's a motivation problem, you've got these things in check, you're still just not being able to push above 50, get an accountability partner, okay? That might be someone on this YouTube channel, that might be a coach, that might be someone inside of our coaching program. I don't care how you do this, but you will need external, some people just need external accountability. In fact, most people need external accountability because self-motivation is very limited and it only lasts like 1 or 2 weeks in the early stages, maybe a couple of months. And so if you're surrounded by other people, okay, accountability, if you're surrounded by other people that are on the same path as you, okay, that are experiencing the same problems you are, that are going through the same shit that you are, you're going to be able to piggyback off their motivation and you'll be able to stay on track. Okay, so let's just presume it's not a motivation problem, though. The next problem that you're going to have is a lead gen problem. So what kind of issues could we face in lead generation? First thing could be just a generation issue, so a quantity issue. So you just cannot generate the leads quick enough to reach out to 25 companies or 50 companies a day, however many you're doing. You just can't generate the leads quick enough. And so if it's a quantity issue, then you probably need to do one of two things. You need to introduce either software, so you could use something like Data Miner to scrape Google Maps, and you could scrape a huge amount of leads, thousands of leads in a day. You could use something like Apollo or Snuv, which is like a lead generation software. Or, of course, you could go on Fiverr and you could pay a lead generator to generate leads for you. Like I was on Fiverr recently and I used to pay lead generators on Fiverr and it was quite expensive in the early stages. Now it is like at least 5 to 10 times cheaper than it used to be. So it's a very viable option. Like quantity isn't an excuse anymore in this day and age. Software and outsourcers can solve that issue for you. Okay. The next issue, though, could be quality. So maybe you're just, you're prioritizing quantity. You want to get as many leads on your pipeline as possible on your outreach, and you're not actually thinking about who is actually suitable for you. There is a difference between total addressable market, which is everybody that's in your niche, and then serviceable addressable market, or service addressable market, which are all the people that are actually suitable for your service, okay? So think about who is actually suitable and get rid of the people that aren't on your outreach, because if you have unqualified people in your lead list, and you can never avoid having any, but if you just try and keep this to a minimum, if you have too many unqualified people, you're just going to manipulate all of your data and you won't be able to make logical decisions because you've got a qualification issue. If we're under, I probably need something to simplify and let me just see if I can find a graphic of some sort. Cool, that'll do. And that would do for a yes. Okay, sweet. Second stage is, once we've done our outreaches, we then need to consider what our meeting set rate is. Okay, this is the rate in which we are setting meetings. Yeah, that sounds pretty obvious when you read it out like that. So out of 100 outreaches, for every 100 cold calls, how many of those calls are we actually turning into meetings? Okay, what is our meeting set rate? Now, this varies across all outreach strategies, okay? So cold calls, I see on average like a 4 or 5% meeting set rate. Emails, DMs could be as low as 0.5 in some cases, or 1 or 2%. It really does vary. So we're going to use an average of 2%. And this is definitely enough of a metric for you to make decisions based on what your bottleneck actually is, being quite conservative with this. Okay, so is your meeting set rate above 2%? Well, we know what to do then. We're going to move on to the next stage. If it's under 2%, then we have an issue, likely. And that issue is likely to be an outreach problem. Again, guys, I don't know if I mentioned this at the start of the video, but I will give you access to this Miro board. If you just click link in the description, sign up to my newsletter, you can give you access to this. You can study this in your own time. And yeah, you can diagnose this anytime you're having issues within the agency. Okay, so let's say we've got an outreach problem. What are the problems that we could be facing? So first thing will be your strategy in general. Okay, so it might be the platform that you're reaching out to people on. We have to consider our ICP, our ideal customer profile, so the industry that we're reaching out to. Do they respond well to DMs? Like if it's let's say it's a dentist, for example, a cosmetic dentist. Well, a cosmetic dentist is pretty hard to get through to on the phone. It's not to say it's impossible. You can definitely get through to them, but it's a lot harder. And so some people like to opt for a more in-depth personalized DM strategy instead. So we have to consider, is the strategy that we're using in itself the issue? Okay. And if it's not the strategy, then it might be the script. So the actual cold calling script that you're using, the email copy that you're sending out, or this could be the DM copy as well. Are we personalizing that script? And not just, you might feel you're personalizing that script, but does the script feel personalized to the prospect? Okay, so when the prospect receives that, try and consider how they would perceive that message. Could it be sent to 10 other people? If it could, then it's not personalized enough. And so you need to go back to the drawing board and change your script. We then need to consider within our script, our offer. Actually, it's kind of something else entirely. So within our script itself, what is our offer like? Okay, what is our value proposition? Are we just going in with a generic, I'll get you 5 more qualified leads? Or are we offering something that makes us stand out? Are we calling out to the generic offers that exist? Or are we not even putting out an offer at all? We are just putting out a value proposition. We are trying to promote a specific result that our service can generate. Okay, but we have to consider our offer. If you're struggling with your offer right now, I put out a video on offers on this channel very recently. I'll put a link in the description somewhere. We'll make sure that you can get access to that. Okay, so consider these 3 things. These are the only 3 things that you'll be facing if it's an outreach problem. Okay, so if it's below, then let's make sure that we consider this. And of course, if it's above, then awesome. That's great. You're doing a good job. Your outreach is working. Okay, what's the next thing? We're booked in meetings. Now it's our show up rate. So this is the percentage of people that actually show up to our calls. This can be a massive issue for new start agency owners. Okay. If you have a very low show-up rate, it means you're booking in meetings, you might have a great conversion, you're reaching out to enough people, your meeting set rate is healthy, but for whatever reason, people just aren't showing up to the call. And I'm going to set that it's above 60%. When you're established, you really want this to be like 70% plus, but at least for beginners, 60% is realistic. Yeah, some of you might get 50%. So if you're around the 50% mark, I maybe wouldn't think this is the biggest issue of show-up rate, but let's set 60% as the benchmark that you want to be following, and it's going to be an outreach problem. If you've got a problem with your show-up rate, it is likely to do with the way you've positioned the call itself. So let's say we're on a cold call and we're desperate for the call. We're not really making sure that person's going to turn up. We're really just getting rushed off the call. We're saying, look, I know you're busy right now, but let's just book in a time on Tuesday. And he's like, yeah, fine, just Tuesday, just call me at any time. And you're like, cool, that's a meeting, I got it booked. That's not a meeting, okay? The framing is all wrong. If you're getting it, or if you're having a problem with show up rate and you suspect it might be something to do with the way that you're reaching out, so the script that you're using, don't hesitate to, when someone says, yeah, cool, I can do 10 a.m. on Tuesday. First of all, you want to make sure that at the end of your call, or at the end of whatever outreach, you can do this on DM and email as well, you validate and you confirm that time. So just to confirm again, we're going to be speaking at Tuesday at 10 a.m. I'm going to send you a calendar invite and a Zoom link. Is that all good, John? Yeah, that's all good. Cool. You can leave it at that in most cases. If you're having a show-up rate issue, then you can say further on top of that. And look, I don't want to waste anyone's time here. I just want to check, is there any reason that you won't be able to attend that call? Okay, or you can skip out the first bit and just say, John, I just want to check, is there any reason you won't be able to attend that call? No, there isn't, and so on. If you've got it, yeah, maybe I've got this, you're going to get an idea as to whether or not that prospect has just said yes to a phone call with you or a meeting with you to get you off the phone. It's very strange, but many prospects, or some prospects, will think it's easier to agree to have a meeting with you than say, no, I don't want to have the meeting. right? It's a bit of a weakness, but it's what it is. So let's validate that, and you can test that out. Yeah, that's really going to be the main thing that's going to be affecting your show up rate. And also on top of that, make sure you are sending a calendar invite. Don't just send them over an email confirming it. Send them over a calendar invite. You can also set up reminders to that calendar, do 1 day before and also 2 hours before as well. And when you've got some case studies, you can even send over an email with your case studies in the interim between when you book the call and when the call is actually going to go ahead. But let's say you're doing a good job, you're above 60%, great. What's the next thing going to be? It's going to be your close rate, right? We're going to be turning up to the meetings, and this is going to be the rate in which we are actually going to be able to close clients. So you want to be aiming for or being above a 25% close rate. This will increase. There's no doubt about this, but initially you're going to be somewhere around 20-25%. 25% is a pretty good industry benchmark for you to be aiming for in the early stages of an agency. In early stages, I mean like pre-10 clients. Like if you're above 25%, you're absolutely fine. If you are below 25%, that does mean that you have some kind of sales problem of some sort. Okay, so you've got a sales problem, which is absolutely fine. And this can be a number of different things. This might be, I mean, first of all, it could be your skills, of course. So just simply your sales ability. You might be fumbling over the words. There might be too many arms and R's and lack of conviction. Conviction really is the most important thing when it comes to agency sales. You need to fuel yourself with confidence in your ability to deliver the service you're going to fulfill, which is easier said than done when you're first starting out. I recognize that, but it does come when you start getting more clients and getting the results. And some people are just really good at fueling themselves with fake conviction in the early stages, okay? We all come from different levels of experience. Trust me when I say I was useless at sales when I first started out. So I sympathize with any of you guys that are struggling with your sales skills right now. And really the only way that you can get better at this, there are 2 ways that you can get better at your sales skills. The most important way is repetition, okay? So doing this again and again and failing forward. And the second most important way is getting call reviews. Okay, so have someone review your calls is one of the main things we do inside of our program, the Platten Academy. We'll review their calls when they need it based on their KPIs, and that will allow them to make changes based on someone that's already got sales experience. And so when they fail forward and jump on the next sales call, they can implement them changes and they can make much faster progress. Okay, you can have someone that's already taken the trodden path, that's already achieved what you're trying to achieve, look at your shit and diagnose it. I do this all the time. I just built out a plan for a new product that we're releasing. I'm not going to go into that yet. It's a software-based product. It's going to be crazy. And I know someone that's built a multi-8-figure software product. And so what did? I got him on a call with me. I broke down the plan and I got all the do's and don'ts. I'll never be so naive to believe that I understand it all. When you get someone that's already achieved what you want to achieve and you get them to have a look at what you're doing and tell you what you're doing wrong, it's just invaluable. It's the best thing that you could do in this space. Okay, outside of skills, we then have your tone, so the way you're actually delivering your strategy. In fact, let's change this to script. Okay, because skills is quite broad. Your script and the meeting strategy that you follow is gonna dictate how that's gonna go. You need to be following a simple 3-part meeting strategy. It's gonna be a discovery, it's gonna be present, it's gonna be close. Discovery is when we're going through and we're asking as many questions as possible. This is the most important and vital stage. This is where most people screw up. Okay, and actually this is where sales skills come into play because we're dancing and practicing active listening and we're really trying to show them that we understand the issues that they're facing as a business, and then we're building all of that trust and buy-in. Okay, and we're understanding their current position, their desired position, and we're talking about the gap in between and why they haven't solved it themselves. Okay, we're digging in that pain. We then jump into the presentation stage where we present our unique solution that's going to solve that problem, and of course we close. Again, I've got videos on this. Tone, of course, is the way that you deliver these words and you deliver this strategy. So we need to make sure that we are speaking in a tone that upholds conviction. So in every word that we're saying, we have full confidence in our ability. We also have full knowledge of our industry, and we don't want to slip at any one stage. So ahs, it happens. I'm not the best at, I am an R sometimes, but I speak with a lot of conviction that then backs it up. So you can compensate for a bad habit in sales through something else, like a deep understanding or deep conviction in your ability to deliver a great service. So tone is something we have to be mindful of. And then finally, it's going to be qualification. So qualification issues can come at all stages. Qualification issues can come at the lead gen stage. Qualification issues can come at the outreach stage. Qualification issues can come at the sales stage, especially with the sales stage. Actually, many agencies screw up qualification on the sales stage because they just want to earn money. It doesn't mean just because they want to give you money that they're actually going to be suitable for your business. In many cases, it does happen very often that you'll be speaking to someone on a sales call and you'll have to turn them down due to qualification. Like, I would say 30 to 40% of the sales calls we jump on as an agency, we have to turn away because they're just not suitable for us. If we said yes to all of them, we'd be in a world of pain. We'd be having issues with service delivery. We'd be having issues with team who would just be like, why are we working with this client? It would just be painful. And the only way you really get past that is when you start earning money, but you have to instill this into yourself in the early stages, because if you don't, you're going to be signing up the wrong clients and it's just going to be an uphill battle that many people don't climb. Okay, so you're above 25% close rate. Awesome. What's the next metric? The next metric we're going to look at? It's going to be churn rate. Okay, so churn rate is the rate in which you are losing clients. Okay, so it's a percentage. Let's say you've got a annual churn of, let's say you've got a churn of 10%. That means you're losing 10% of your clients every month. So if your churn rate, and this is normal, you can't avoid losing clients. You absolutely are going to lose clients as part of an agency life cycle. And you won't always lose clients due to bad results. You'll lose clients because they want to bring things in-house or because they want to try out another agency. Their brothers just started one and they want to check them out, right? But as long as you're below 10%, as a benchmark, some people are above this, some people are below this, of course. As long as you're below 10%, you're pretty good to go to say, well, I don't have an issue when it comes to my service specifically. And if you are above 10%, then it is a service problem. So what are the main issues that we're going to be facing? The first one is expectations. And I actually think this is the biggest problem that agencies face when it comes to their service. Most agencies are terrible at managing expectations with their clients. Because expectations in some ways are counterintuitive to signing, right? When we jump on a sales meeting and we're like, yeah, we can get you, we need to get 10 leads, Jordan. Okay, cool, we can definitely get you 10 leads and we'll guarantee it for you. And in fact, we'll probably get way more than that. Okay, we're overselling, over-promising. And then when it comes to actually delivering that service, you have that feeling of, shit, I've actually now got to do this thing. I didn't think they were going to say yes. And then you're panicking the whole month. You're rushing the service. You're not delivering it in the way that you should be. You're making decisions based on how you can get that specific result, not based on what's actually right for the client on a holistic level. And the client is looking at you because even when you deliver the thing that you said that you were going to deliver, they're like, okay, he just did what he said he did. He didn't exceed expectations. Expectations are absolutely everything. In a world where trust is at an all-time low in business, especially in this space, we need to be realistic with people on sales call. And so we love to say on sales calls, when we jump on a call, we don't have an offer in our agency. We do not have a guarantee. There is no guarantee of results in our agency. Very rarely will we offer a guarantee. Now, there is a guarantee because we know that we can deliver results. I mean, not on paper, right? The client doesn't sign a contract to say, Affluent.co are 100% going to get us results. But we know it's certified. If we say yes to working with a client, and this is one thing I say at the start of the meeting, I'm only going to say yes to you if I know we can get you results. We'd never say yes to working with someone if we don't think we can get them results. And that's a genuine statement. I will never say yes to working with someone unless we know we can get them results, because I do not want to have the difficult conversations. I don't want to be speaking to someone and we haven't managed to get them return on investment. And we can only do that through deep understanding of our ICP, through working with them over a long period of time. Okay, but we don't have to sign a contract with a guarantee. In fact, when we're on a sales call, we'll say to them, look, just so you know, let's say, I mean, this changes per client, but let's say they're an e-commerce brand that hasn't scaled above 100K spend yet. We'll say, well, look, just so you know, in month one, it's very unlikely we're going to get you a solid return on investment. Month one is all about testing. So we're going to figure out what's actually going to work on your ad account. We're going to dive into historically what you've done previously with other agencies. We're going to be testing out a whole bunch of different creatives. And then once we've optimized on our findings in month two, we're going to start to get a decent return on investment. Month three, that's when we're going to start scaling up and further. So I want you to understand that you're probably not going to make money in the first month. Is that okay? Cool. That conversation will change and differ depending on the client, depending on what we know we can actually get for them. What is important to note is we are telling them what we believe to be true based on their specific circumstances. And again, you're only going to be able to do this as you get more experience. But if you want to know how to do this, let's say in lead generation, then you can say a very similar thing. You could, in theory, say, just so you know, month one, we're going to be doing a lot of testing. We're not going to get you the strongest return on investment, but we'll be aiming to at least break even. And then in month two, we're going to start generating a lot more leads. And in month three, we're going to optimize on those leads and be able to scale you up further. And then from there onwards, your ad account is optimized and we can take it to whatever level you want to get it to. Along those lines, use your tonality, use your wording, set expectations. Do not over-promise and under-deliver. Under-promise and over-deliver. Because when you have a client that you over-deliver on, okay, they're going to be shouting about you from the rooftops. So they're going to be giving you all the referrals. If you just say what you did, you said you were going to do, then it's like, okay, cool. He did his thing. That's great, right? Exceed expectations, you get referrals, you get case studies, you get testimonials. I wanted this to be a short video. I can't help myself. Okay, it's, what are we on? Okay, all good. Communication issues. Okay, communication's a big one. Oh, I'm going to have to make that bigger. My OCD is going to go crazy. Okay, so communication can be an issue with the service. Okay, if things aren't going to plan, if things aren't going in the way that you want them to, then be honest with the client. Let them know that. Don't sugarcoat things. Especially do not lie to them. If things are not going well, your clients need to feel like they're out on this together with you. They're on this journey with you, and they are partly responsible for the results and also majorly responsible for the results that they're getting. They need to live up to their side. They need to be providing you content. They need to be speaking to you on your weekly calls. Whatever, I don't want to go too deep into a specific service, but depends on what you're offering. That dictates what your clients actually need to give you to live up to their side of the bargain. Working with an agency isn't the golden ticket to your business that's a shit business becoming a great business. Your ads or your website or your content or whatever service you're paying an agency for is there to improve on what you already have. Okay, so the client needs to live up to their side. They need to be coming up and helping you with offers. They need to be making sure that the appointments are being set properly, etc., depending on what you have agreed with the client. So communication is very important on both levels. It's you being honest, but it's also you being honest with them when they're not living up to their side. And then obviously, finally, we do have skill set. So maybe you're just starting out, maybe you haven't run ads before, maybe you haven't gone through any specific training. You definitely need to take some kind of training in order to run ads. You can watch YouTube videos. It'll only get you so far. If you want to deliver exceptional results, you do need to join some kind of a program in order to learn those skills. Kind of moreover, like there's lots of education out there. You can buy a very cheap course on udemy.com that will teach you how to run Facebook ads, for example. The most valuable thing about joining a program is getting live feedback when you need it in service delivery and sales and anything else. It's live feedback in general. If you're struggling with a client ad account and you can jump on a call with someone that's already delivered results in that industry and they know what they're doing, they spent millions, they're going to be able to help you get results. They're going to be able to look at that ad account and know exactly what you need to change. So it's incredibly invaluable. I can't imagine where I'd be if when we started working with big e-com brands, I didn't have any support in doing that. So we've looked at everything else. We've ruled it all out. We're now looking at our total capacity. We can't grow in the agency at the moment. We're delivering great results. We're getting clients in, but we can't take any on. We've got a problem. Okay? And the way I like to look at this is, have you got above 50% capacity? If you've got above 50% capacity, which means you can increase your revenue by 50% without any particular strain on the team, or not strain, without your team collapsing. Okay, so if you've got 10 clients right now, you want to be aiming to be able to take on another 5 clients at any one time. And if you don't have the ability to do that, then you've got an operations problem. And that problem can come in many ways. The most obvious one is team capacity, right? So you need to be looking at, and what I like to do is I always like to have an active Miro board with our team outlined on it. So we have an idea of our team structure, so who we have. In our fulfillment team, we work on a pod system. So we'll have media buyers, we'll have creative strategists, we'll have a graphic designer, and we have an account manager. So we have a pod system. And then we know that one pod can handle, let's say, between 6 and 12 clients, depending on the size. And so we know if we're at our limit with all of the pods that we've got at the moment, we probably need to hire another pod so we can open up that capacity. You never want to have your team as the bottleneck for you to scale. That's a big problem. We always need to be hiring ahead of time, never hiring. And this is when we're established. In the early stages, you kind of hire based on pain. When you're an established agency, you're going to have a surplus of cash, and therefore you want to be hiring in advance, so you've always got capacity in order for you to scale. Next thing is team skill set. Okay, so what do we need to do? We need to get them in programs. We need to create better SOPs, standard operating procedures, better processes, better systems. We need to have more team calls. Okay, so each department should be jumping on at least 2 calls per week. So there's ongoing training happening. And then finally, if all of that is in check, it's a management problem. It's going to be you, or maybe it's not you. Maybe you're a large agency. Maybe it's someone a head of department, head of media buying, etc. But majority of the time, it's going to be you if you're the manager in the company. It's very possible that you are the reason why you're not growing the business right now from an operational standpoint. Maybe you're being tight with your money. Maybe you're spending too much of your financial resources. Maybe you're not managing the team and motivating them very well, and you're being a slave driver. Whatever that reason is, you need to dig into that and consider these things. But it's very, very important that you work through these in stages, and you don't be skipping ahead at your close rate. You don't be skipping ahead at your total capacity. You go through these one by one to diagnose the specific problems that you're facing within your business. You stick to that one problem, and then when you overcome it, you then keep progressing until you have a successful 100K a month agency. This is all you need to think about. Don't make it any more complicated than this. Okay, see you soon. Cheers.